All right, y'all, everybody, another edition of the Horns Down podcast. Post game reaction. Y'all see who I'm with. Hey, let's go ahead and hit the intro. We'll get right to it.
You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one where the horns are always down. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Horns Down podcast.
Okay, so, yeah, another edition of the Horns Down podcast. I am with my guy Jay. Jay, as always, appreciate you for not only being a guest of the show, but also tagging along and being basically a co-host of the show. Let's just go from there. But,
call it that.
But my guy Jay, gotta give him his flowers real quick. Jay, my boy Nick, my boy Steven, my boy Ty, all on Bleacher Report, moving on up to the east side. You know what I'm saying?
Moving to the east side.
Living good. So, anyways, Jay, tell everybody where they can find you at before we get started on this. Because we got
y'all to find me. Jay Smith, Unfair Sports. You search for me on YouTube as well as wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. And every Friday, we're on Bleacher Report doing a college football roundtable of predictions. As Chris mentioned, me, Ty, Nick from Nino's Corner, as well as Steven from Fanatic Perspective. You know, the Texas guys. But yeah, we're kicking it over there too. So yeah, just trying to move up and grow in this game, baby. Let's talk about this game that just passed, though, because I'm watching this Texas-Alabama game right now, and big yikes.
Yeah. Kind of on both parts because neither one of them are able to put each other away, right? So
correct.
We'll get to that in a little while if we have time. But where I'm going to start at with this game is simply this, okay? We got the win. That's all that matters. A lot of stuff on tape that we got to clean up on both sides. I'm gonna save the best for last. Let's start on defense first. Defensively, I felt. I'm gonna say this right here because obviously I'm a big basketball guy. Okay, that's what I played in college. If you guys didn't know, whatever. But it's the equivalent of going out there contesting a shot and Kobe Bryant still hitting a fadeaway jump shot over three people. Sometimes it just happens. And the reason why I say that is because Preston Stone was throwing off his back foot the entire game. You wanted to see pass rush, the pass rush was there. You saw bull rush from the linebackers. You saw the edges be able to get to the point where they were getting home. This is yet another game. Jay said it last time on this pod. He said it on his pod. And he said it when we were on SEC Connect and every other pod. We faced yet another offense that wants to get the ball out of their hands quickly. So there was really no time to sit there and try to get all the pressures. Guys were there. Canick, Stutzman, Trace Ford especially, PJ Adebarare. Guys were there. Okay, we saw flashes. Where we fell and where we got into trouble on defense was some of the communication was taking a little bit too long on the back end. We were fine. Billy Bowman, Harrington, especially those two, got to be able to see the play, call the play, figure out what's going on quicker than what you were because that's where the lapses were coming, in my opinion. I'm going to pass the mic, and I'm going to go to Jay and say, Jay, what did you see from our defense today?
So, I mean, you hit the main piece on there, and the one thing that I pointed out, like you said, on ad nauseum here, especially when we were talking about the last game is Arkansas State. Our defensive line was getting pressure. They were getting rid of the ball really fast because they recognized just how fast our defense is. And it was funny because the broadcast, they were talking about this, the play-by-play and the color analysts were talking about this, besides the fact that they were just butchering names. We have Lord Farquaad out there playing wide receiver, didn't realize it, but I digress. They pointed out the entire time that our defense is fast, like really fast. And Arkansas State said that too. They didn't realize we were as fast as we were when they played us. That was the thing that Butch Jones said. He was like, yeah, on tape, this is not what I expected. The refs did not do us any favors. So we'll throw that excuse out right now and just say we're in the Big 12. We should be used to that. I know it's not fair, but at that point, that's never an excuse for us. We need to do enough to where that's never a problem for us. But defensively, they did their job. Now, I did a video before the game, and I talked about at the end of it, if this team does one thing, I will be sold on them making the playoffs. One thing, and that will be holding their opponent to under 10 points. We were right there. That 2-point conversion was definitely a pass interference, but the point is we didn't hold them under 10, so I'm not sold on playoffs yet. But overall, defensively, we did our job. We had 5 tackles for a loss. We had 1 sack. Ethan Downs made that mistake on his, which that was the first time in the entire game that Stone actually held the ball for long enough for us to be able to get him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They didn't run a lot of max protect, but they did run some. But they were getting rid of that ball. And so the secondary was where they were supposed to be. We kept stopping them at midfield. We kept ruining their third down attempts. So I'm happy with the defensive performance. Mm-hmm. 11 points is always a plus. I want the average to be less than 10 in the first 5 games. We're there. So I'm satisfied with the defense.
I thought you saw guys flying to the football. I thought you saw guys being active out there at every level of the defense. It's just some of the communication things they have to be sewed up. The biggest thing for us is simply we're not falling for all of the pre-snap stuff. We're not falling for a lot of the, you saw those wheel routes, a lot of the gadget plays that usually would kill us. We're not falling for those things. But where we are struggling is those little hitch routes, those curl routes. That's where we're struggling. They're just sitting a guy right there because that's the only weakness of the defense right now. And they're able to find that guy an awful lot, probably more than what you want. So my opinion, got to be more crisp on defense. That's about all as I can say really about the defense. It wasn't the defense's fault that we had such a lull today. There was more at play than that. But I'm glad we got to see a lot of guys, early and late in the game. I think Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie have honestly, outside of Stutzman, I think that you can interchange those three. I mean, those three at that spot as far as saying you can have McKenzie. You can have Lewis, obviously, and Koenig. I mean, I just think that all three of them, there hasn't been that much separation when I've seen them on the field. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know that I had a bigger sample size of Koenig, but there hasn't been necessarily that separation. And then also Deshaun McCullough when he's out there too. We can't forget that we had him out there too. But
in a way, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing that we have players that, because we all know they're all over the place. They're all making the magic happen, that we can say, oh, we don't have any concerns because they're all good enough to play. So, like, if we have an injury, somebody goes down, we worried about it. They basically got it. So, no, but one thing I want to say also, one last thing before we really dive into this. I want everybody to hear me when I say this. And I mean, hear me loud and clear. Based upon this game, I really think this is SMU's only loss this season. Just so y'all know, when they go to the AAC championship game, don't be shocked. Because this team was built for it. And this schedule, they're built for it.
This is you got to remember that Rhett Lashley and Venables have a lot of history. So I mean, it's still a great win, simply because you know that their record at the end of the season, the expectation for their record at the end of the season is going to be really good. So let's go ahead and get to what everybody wants to talk about. Ding, 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 ding. Jeff Levy, come to the front. We got to talk to you real quick. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm going to go to one comment right here. Stephen G, what's up, my guy? Hold on. He says Sawchuk is recovering from an injury. Okay, I get that. Where is it at? Somebody had it on here. Yes, there you go. Boomer 129, Boomer 129 said, "Who did Sawchuk piss off? Who did Barnes piss off? You saw Barnes and Sawchuk get one carry in this game. This is well. Just let me finish this point. This is not a game where you really needed them, but I'm just going to tell you now. Marcus Majors is not cutting it. Coming into the season, Jay, you know me and you kind of differed on Tyree Walker. Tyree Walker is showing us something. I'll give him that. But hot damn it, I mean, I was just like, man, it felt like when Majors was rushing, he was putting us behind the 8 ball, so I didn't know what to do. Because I always get antsy, especially when we're going so damn fast. We're going so fast, and those 3 and outs are going, and we have Majors rushing, and he's getting 3 yards on 2 downs. So that's tough, and that's difficult. And when we're still in that 3rd and 9, third and 8, those are those positions where I'm like, well, what are we going to do? But as far as the play calling is concerned, man, I mean, we're going 5 wide running Dylan Gabriel. We're basically telling them what we're going to do. We're running tight formations with the athletes that we had in the wide receiver core that I feel like we have this year thus far. I felt like we could have did more out of there as far as the passing plays. But to run tight formations whenever they're loading the box and bringing everybody up, basically with a cover 0, it's a cover 0 look. But obviously, you know, they're still playing the 2 high safeties. But it just, I don't know. I'll let you have the floor, Jay.
Touchdown, Alabama. So,
okay. Boom.
Alabama touchdown. Deep pass, too, by Milrose. Beautiful. Perfect. On spot. 49 yards. It's a beautiful throw. So, this was my thought behind this game. My morning after recap, I'll probably put it out early in the morning because I think I'm going to get it real early, rewatch the game one more time for a 3rd time because I'm going to watch it again, actually, after I get off of here, speed through it. But this is where we're all going to differ. I'm going to differ with everybody on this. As annoyed as I was with some of the play call, I understood what Levy was doing. Why do we need to go out there with exotic stuff? Why do we need to get fancy on any possession in this game when we need to be preparing ourselves, honestly, for Cincinnati? But that's probably the most. Wait, give me a second. That's the most competition we're going to see is probably Cincinnati, based upon the way everybody's playing. Because we just watched Iowa State get they butts just shellacked by Iowa, and we know Iowa can't even score points like in real life. Tulsa's not going to be an issue. And then we'll have Cincinnati, and then we'll get ready for Texas, Red River. If we can win all those games without really putting out the whole playbook, you win those games without putting out the whole playbook. Yeah. And as the question was asked, who did Sawchuk, who did Barnes piss off? Both of them are coming off injury. Remember, Barnes had surgery on his foot, and he had just got back before fall camp, so they're easing him in. I don't think it's that they don't want to play him. It's more of a, we don't need to run you in too much until we get closer to the Texas game. Because that's when we're really going to need Barnes and Sawchuk. And Sawchuk, like I said, coming off injury, you want to ease him back in and then go. But Tyree Walker cooking. Let Tyree go ahead and keep running. You're right. Marcus Major is not giving us what we was hoping out of him. This is his, 5th year to really try? Mm-hmm. They're probably still going to play him a lot up until we get closer to conference. Tulsa's not a game that we need to be worried about. I actually think Tulsa will do a lot better than we did SMU because SMU, as I mentioned, this might be their only loss this season until they get to AAC championship game. So if they go out there with 11 wins, y'all going to be like, oh, wow, we beat 11-win SMU 28-11 with a team full of Power 5 players that they just got in as transfers. Like, we wanted LJ Johnson. We were actually courting him as a transfer, and we didn't win him. So, and then, of course, one of the main wide receivers, he didn't even get any catches in this game, which is beautiful by us. Jordan Hudson? Yeah. Former 5-star wide receiver? Didn't even get anything. You don't even see him. You don't see him on there, right?
I didn't even hear from him. Yeah.
Not one time. Not one time, which is crazy. But, yeah.
But Jay, here's my point. This is why I'm being critical of what's up, Jason? Jason, I sent you a text, man. I was trying to get you on here too. But anyways, Jay, here's my point with it all, okay? I get what you're saying. I don't have any problem with him wanting to stay vanilla and keep it close to the brim, all the rest of that stuff. That's perfectly fine. The problem is that listen to what I'm saying. We're running those tight formations. Levy, why are we not running our screens? Why are we not running our jet sweeps? Why are we not doing some of the things that are characteristic of us that we already have on film throughout last season into this season? Why are we not doing some of those same things right there that you do that you know are going to get us those easy yards? That's where I kind of have a problem. You're not spreading them over the field. You're doing a tight formation.
Mm-hmm. No, I get you.
When you are spreading them over the field, even whenever they're bracketing Andrew Anthony, he's still catching those slants and all of that stuff because you're spreading them out. That's how those lanes and Tawee made a couple of cuts, made a couple of moves where you were like, okay, that's showing that he's matured as a running back and he's doing, damn good. Like he's in his groove now. I get that.
Right.
But my problem is that just some of those same plays, those same formations or whatnot that we're used to seeing from Levy, especially games like this, or at least early on, we didn't see none of that.
No, you're right. I think that's the reason why is that they did the calculus on this and said there's no reason to show too much of our hand because they've probably installed more stuff because we got more talent this year. We do have more talent, especially at the wide receiver spot. The running backs are looking better. Well, they can look better. I think we're deeper this year. We just got to get somebody to pop off. We don't have anybody popping off like Eric Gray was, but Tawee, hell, he might be that running back this year, but we're just not putting everything out there yet. Now, I would have liked probably to see more attempts deep, but SMU was playing it. Like I think they had like a 3 deep most of the time. They were playing like they were watching for us to pass. They were hoping that we wouldn't throw it deep, so we just kept running down the throat, which I appreciate that after 2 possessions, Levy said, you know what? Put Tawee in. We're just going to be physical. And then he started muscling the rest of the game. And I was like, okay, why didn't we do this from jump? Because when you start muscling them too much, at a certain point, they started changing their defensive formations, and then we got those 2 wide open touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That's what we should have been doing earlier. So there's any criticism. I think we should have been muscling more with Tawee and a little bit less Major initially, but bring Major in like the in-betweens so that we just kept pounding them. Because that's what when we saw the progress. And then all of a sudden everything started rolling, and honestly I thought we was going to score one more touchdown. But that 4th down with Jackson Arnold's crazy, which someone mentioned in here. I didn't see whose name was at the top. But they were asking why stop bringing Jackson Arnold on QB runs. And that's what he's going to do this year, guys. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Unless it's a blowout and they decide to play him at quarterback, they're bringing him in on 4th downs and 3rd and shorts to run those plays. Yeah. That's his package. That's what he's really good at. I mean, he's a great thrower too, but
his package is going to expand throughout the season. There's going to be some drives, especially where he comes in maybe on a 1st down or a 3rd down or something like that.
Right.
I mean, hell, the first series, it was like what the 1st or 2nd series you saw him
go out at wide receiver.
Yeah, and then line up the wide receiver. Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, what does Ty always say? It's okay for 2 truths to exist at the same time.
Correct.
I don't think that you're wrong. Obviously, I don't think I'm wrong, but I don't think you're wrong either. And I get what you're saying. I just felt like, we're not seeing the quad formation towards the sideline for the screens. We're not seeing some of those easy yardage, those money plays, at least those 1st down money plays that we know that we can get. And that was just where I was confused from. I was like, well, I just don't get why Levy is not spreading them out. Now he's not doing this. He's not doing that. We didn't see a lot of the intangibles. I get that you want to, keep it close to the brim, but it's just at some point, man, you don't necessarily have to show your hand, but you do have to get these players in the right position, man.
No, you're right. And what they wanted to do was blow the top off of it. But again, that was kind of the problem. Was SMU it looked like they were in either nickel or dime package most of the game. Like they just had dudes deep, and that's what they did not in any way, shape, or form want to allow a single pass out of us. And I get it. That's smart defense. I mean, you're going up against a team that's really good at passing. You don't want to let them have that. And so, and like you mentioned with Stone, like the difference between the two was that Stone was throwing off his back foot. He was immediately getting rid of it. And he was just chunking it up. And we weren't getting any calls. So you saw some holding, you saw some pushing, you saw some hand stuff that on one side, I mean, they had 2 penalties for 15 yards all game. We had 9 penalties for 80 something, which a lot of them was us burning ourselves when it came to the holds and stuff that were silly. Our offensive line just getting, antsy. And it probably was them getting annoyed by the fact that they weren't calling anything. I totally get them. At the same time, Texas just scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Recognize that I think that we went overly vanilla in this game again. And why the question is, why we run so much? No reason to pass the ball on a defense that's running with 6 DBs. Yeah. That's not safe. And that's the reason why you didn't see Arnold really throw it deep outside of the drops that we had, which it seems like we got a case of the drops again. Mm-hmm. I don't know where this is coming from, but you notice if you see Dylan look, he went through his progressions and he never threw it deep. He just went ahead and either tucked it and ran or he threw it short real quick because they were back. They were wanting passes and they were wanting anything deep. And so we could go with the intermediates or we just, like I said, tuck and run. So that's why we ran so much. That's why we ran it 47 times in this game. We threw it 27, ran it 47 because it only made sense to not go too deep and go for turnover. Y'all would have been mad if you turned the ball over. Yeah, you don't want them to force it.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, everybody, while we're in here, we got a bunch of people in here. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and follow both channels. Unfair Sports, Horns Down Pod. Definitely go ahead and do that. Do that for sure. But yeah, I mean, Jay, like I said, man, I don't want to, sound like a broken record, but that was my issue tonight with the offense mostly.
I get it.
It was just that we could have made things a lot easier on ourselves.
I think the thing that if anything that bothered me in this game is our time of possession was too low. They had it 32 to 27. It was about even. It was about even. I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's like what's that? A 5-minute difference in the game. So in a full game, that's close. Mm-hmm. We were holding on to the ball for a good amount, but like you mentioned, Major would get in there on 2 or 3 runs and not really go anywhere, and it was like, we need someone that can explode and hit that hole a little bit harder, or we need somebody to wear them down, and then you bring Major in to clean up. I think Tywee's your better option to wear them down because that little bowling ball dude, he was trucking folks. And then you bring in Major to go ahead and mop up work. Mm-hmm. So I think if next game, I anticipate this to be the smart move for them. Start Tywee, bring in Major right afterwards. Even though Tulsa it doesn't have players as big as SMU. SMU's got some big boys on that line. They got some 280, 290 guys, and they have one 300, I think he's 310 right in the middle at the nose. So they've got some sizey guys, but yeah,
SMU
probably want to do that.
SMU is that was a great matchup for film purposes, to be honest with you.
Yes.
But SMU is a team. I mean, you got to think. I mean, they hit the portal just as hard as anybody else. Mm-hmm. So that team is made. That team is made up of a lot of talent at certain spots, and as good as they feel about Preston Stone, I mean, deservingly so. That boy's a gunslinger. I will say that. That boy is a gunslinger.
Oh, he will sling that thing. But hey, who was it? Somebody put it in here. James is the one that sent the message. I'm missing he said, I missed the point. Lots of fans are losing money on the over for 1,500 yard rushers on the season. I get it. We're probably going to see that later in the year, especially when you get into Big 12 play. At that point, you need style points. Right now, we're not style points. We don't need this SMU style points. You want to be careful when, like I said, in these games. Tulsa, I could totally see us running up the score in that game.
I'm at the Gerald Preston. Jay, this comment right here. I'll let you combat this. But Gerald Preston says, all I can say is Jeff Levy showed tonight he wasn't calling plays at Ole Miss. He sucked for 3 quarters tonight unless he is playing the spread. Deepest backfield in the country, quarterback draws. I mean, word that was that coming from Ole Miss is that he wasn't the one calling plays. So,
it's the lane train. It's the lane train's offense that they mainly ran, and he was there part of it. Similar to UCF, it was Heupel's offense, and he was there helping run it. So, I mean, Venables has given him the reins to run it, and I anticipate that he's going to get more aggressive on the offensive side as we get further down. Yeah, and you're right, Chicken. Besides Andrew Anthony Jr., which I told y'all to buy his stock before the season started, his stock is getting really high right now. Like, it's expensive. Like, it's premium stock right now because he will be Dylan Gabriel's top receiver. Guaranteed. He'll be your 1,000-yard receiver. He will be the one. If we have only one, he will be the one.
Bro, this dude just threw another pick. My God.
Jalen Milroe?
Yeah.
I could totally see it. He is, yeah. Oh, wow. He threw a pick six, too. Just about. That's a pick six. Yep, that's a pick six. That's basically a pick six.
It's like they're hiding that safety. I don't even know. They're not even hiding it. He's just not seeing it.
He's not seeing it. He's not seeing it at all. Yeah, this is Texas is going to win this game.
Texas is doing a too high safety.
And he's throwing underneath. Why would you throw an underneath route? You throw it to the left. Why would you throw an underneath route when you watch the safety drift down?
Yeah, I don't know.
He literally eyeballed that receiver the entire time. Good Lord. This is awful. But anyway, my point is Gabriel was out there doing the clinic like he should. He's hitting the players he's supposed to hit. He's taking his time. Yeah, if we had him drops, he would have because he had only 8 drops in this game, 8 incompletions. He probably would have had 5 incompletions if we were to catch those passes. But semantics. Guys, Texas. So yeah, this game Texas is going to go ahead and I guess we should be excited, y'all, because that means that there's a chance that when we see Texas, we'll both be in the top 10.
Texas fans are about to be unbearable. I promise to God, if any of you are smart and any of you want to have a good night, do not go into any Texas Twitter space for the next week, or tonight or for the next week, because it's going to be hell. But anyways, he said,
there's 14 minutes left. He really probably did. He probably did.
Man, Ty pissed his draws. Ty probably is pissed somewhere. Like, what the hell is going on? But anyways,
but Hank, yes.
But no, yeah. So to the point though, yeah, there were some drops or whatever by the wide receivers as well. Farouk showed up whenever we definitely needed him. That was a hell of a move that he made to get that touchdown. Because you
know what bothers me if there's anything about the Levy offense is not finding ways to get that dude in open space.
Yeah.
Now I know that teams watch for him constantly because of how talented he is, but get that dude in a little open space, get him the ball quickly, and just let him do his thing. Because that cuts like that you'll see all the time. Which that may actually spark it moving forward because he had 2 catches in this game. So, but yeah, that's what you need. You need Farouk to be in open space and let that dude just go.
This is what I don't get about Levy. Levy, like I told, I want to say that you were on one of those shows when I told Ty that, but if you go back to Levy's time at Ole Miss, Levy had a guy there named Dontario Drummond. And he used him all over the field. I mean, he would put him in the backfield. He would put him in the slot. He would put him outside. And guess what he would do? All the stuff that you would usually see, you see what Drake Stoops, Gavin Freeman run. You see Jalil Farouk do it too. That was Dontario Drummond. He did it all. I don't understand why we don't use Farouk more like that as a bona fide weapon. He's a good wide receiver, but I think that
Peter Warwick
ball, like you said, I think that would. He's explosive when he has the ball in his hands, but you have to get the ball to him. So, like I said, just from a schematic, like from a season-long perspective, I get what you're saying. I agree with you. But for tonight, knowing that the competition was going to be better, scheme had to be better, and the scheme was not there. I just feel like we scheme-wise, Levy came out there and thought, okay, we could do this, we could do that. And another thing that kind of irritates me about the Levy system, outside of just sometimes we're going way too fast, is simply the fact that, okay, Levy, I get it. You've ran that play 3 times, and guess what? We are on 3rd and 1. Just because you hurry to the line does not mean that you're going to get that 4th and 1. Like,
with that exact same play again.
Same play.
Yeah, you got to tell you give Dylan Gabriel a little autonomy to be able to change that up, and I don't think he gives them that autonomy yet. And I know that with a lot of things, it's more of a. I know. I'll put it like this. I like the fact that Dylan Gabriel's running more. Let me say that. I like that he's running an RPO and he's actually running it instead of. Instead of always handing it off or passing it quickly and never actually scampering. He's going in, digging his heels, running up the middle, get himself a run. I mean, he had a 10-yard run, which is great. That's what you want. You want to make sure that teams will always,
And Chicken,
always remember.
Right,
I mean,
but I
always
express my First Amendment, and I'm going to say I don't know what the f that was tonight. That was even bad for Levy, and I think Levy will tell you that himself. I think that
he's not satisfied with the performance and either his call or his thought process. Again, we went extremely vanilla-ish, and we weren't very creative. Hell, we didn't really run no end arounds. We didn't really do anything, even no trickery, and the drops didn't help. And I get that, like you said, he just, was out there just, barely playing, just, having fun. But I don't think that we're going to see the playbook really open until we get, what's that? Cincinnati is the first big game?
Quite possibly, yeah. Cincinnati and then Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa State.
Yeah. The 23rd is when we travel to Cincinnati. That's going to be the game that will actually see the playbook open up more. Because Cincinnati's defensive line is probably the best in the Big 12. Texas is good. Cincinnati is real good. And Milroe gets hit with a beautiful throw, and his receiver didn't catch it. Cincinnati is probably the best. So, yeah, you're going to need to be creative in there to save us from getting lit up. But they also run a 3-3-5.
Who is Houston? Who is Houston playing right now?
Houston. Are they playing right now? Somebody's going to probably beat me in the chat, but I'm looking. H-Town bound, Big 12. I'm looking. Big 12 schedule. Houston's playing Rice, and they're losing to Rice. 28-14.
Well, okay.
So I guess Texas was serious when they said that Rice was actually good. Or Houston is just got awful.
Houston is hot guard.
Hey, JT Daniels has got 373 yards passing and 3 touchdowns.
Boy, stop. Anyways. Did you ever think that you would live in a world where you could literally say that Kansas may give Texas a better game than Alabama?
No, actually, I wasn't even shocked because we talked about it. Alabama has 3 quarterbacks, meaning they have 0 quarterbacks. And I think Chicken put that in here. That's something that Ty even said. Like, I thought Milroe would figure it out and tuck and run more. He ain't tucking and running enough for me. That's what you got to do. Yeah. And then Proctor out there is getting abused. But, I mean, when he throws, some of his throws are beautiful, but some of his other ones are not. Like, that first down was nice. And I bet you they go down and score twice.
He gets a lot of coverage sacks as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And wow, that was a nice pocket. Jesus, that was a great throw. He got to do more of that, but he ain't there for it, man. I don't know if Milroe's going to be the starting quarterback mid-season.
If he comes back and wins, then he'll be all right. But he said, hell, I'm worried about Kansas. Nah, Jimmy, I'm not worried about Kansas. I watched Kansas. They defense is still as long as you throw on the opposite side of Kobe Bryant, you're good. Yeah. Well, if we come out there like today, or if we keep it vanilla, too vanilla, or we're not doing what we need to do, and we keep them in the game and they're inspired, then yes, their defense can play, especially because it's going to be a road game for us. But offensively, I know it was Illinois, but they still kind of showed their hand. They're not necessarily – it's not even that they dress plays up at the line of scrimmage as far as the pre-snap motions and stuff. What it is that, man – when they do try to dress something up, you can see it, because basically what they're doing is they're moving guys over to basically overload one side with a bunch formation, and then they're running like a Z spot after. You got a guy who's basically running like a slant. Then you got a guy who's running a corner route, and then you got a guy who's just whatever he wants to do is an option route on top of it. So they put you in those binds because they're trying to overload that side and make your defense think more than what they need to. Running back wise, they're pretty damn well. Touchdown Bama.
And Milroe dropped the ball again and throws a touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that what Jay Milroe does well?
You said what?
Isn't that what Jalen Milroe does well? Drops the ball, gets it up, broken play, fixes it, makes a touchdown. Bama's going to score again, so they'll take the lead probably very soon. Just keep your eyes open.
But no, so with Kansas, though, I mean, that's kind of what I saw. The running backs are really good. Neal is fast as hell, but to me, I think he's going to have a fumbling problem. He's fumbled twice already this season. And as good as Jalen Daniels is, I mean, I know last night they were trying to make him out to be the Superman. I was like, dude, it's Illinois' defensive line. Come on, man. But
I mean, technically he was out there playing with broken plays, just like
yeah.
Are they going to try to make this a 3-point game? Oh, why? Just get the ball back on defense, even though your defense sucks. Texas called timeout, which was smart.
So Stephen G says, I'm going through some of the comments. Stephen G says, I'm only worried about Texas. That's the only team. SMU is better than 4 of the conference games, maybe 5. And that's true.
Yes. I'm looking at our schedule right now, and I'm going to be honest. The only teams I think that are better than SMU this year are going to be Texas, possibly Kansas, because Kansas can do stuff with broken plays. And if you give anything else, maybe Cincinnati because of the way they're playing right now. But outside of that, nah.
So let's go.
Definitely Iowa State, UCF, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, BYU, and TCU. Yeah, I think that SMU. Actually, I think SMU is going to go beat TCU in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, they do play.
Yeah. And when they go over there and beat them the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna look at y'all and be like, well, I mean, we know Colorado beat them, and then SMU went and beat them. Can we really argue about much?
Yeah. So Jay, let's break down both sides of the ball, and what I mean by that is let's break down the line on both sides. So whichever one you want to start with, the O line or the D line, go ahead and give me your grades and kind of what you saw and who you thought was, oh my God.
So O line, I'm gonna say I'll start with O line. I give our O line a B.
Mm-hmm.
Good catch. The penalties were dumb. Walter Rouse's penalty was dumb. Guyton's penalty was dumb. See, Walter had 2 penalties.
Yeah.
It just they didn't feel as buttoned up as they were, of course, game 1. And that to me is what hurt us more than anything. I mean, we had the touchdown with Major, got called back over a second penalty by Rouse, which I know that he'll clean that up. And then, of course, we luckily got the Farouk touchdown, which was even prettier because, it's way more it was a lot more juke and finesse in it. So we covered the spread too, FYI. So if you bet the spread, congratulations, Oklahoma covered it. So screwed everybody that thought that Oklahoma wasn't going to cover the spread. And Vegas was very good because the spread was 16 at kickoff and we won by 17.
Yeah.
So I give them a B on the offensive line. What you go for?
Offensive line, I give them offensive line. I'll give them a B minus, kind of a solid C, B minus. We gave up a sack today, and it was Savion Byrd who
missed that so bad.
Missed that so bad. Yeah. And it was apparent too as soon as it happened. That guy had a free lane to Gabriel. Offensive line, they opened up some holes, but like I said, on some of those big runs, Tawee Walker made those happen. After Tawee Walker is a very poor man's version of Samaje Perine. That's kind of what I see whenever I see him.
Tawee
Walker.
Okay. I see him more as a diet Quentin Griffin.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I would say Samaje, like a poor man's version of
he's a little bowling ball. He just bounces off the tackle.
Yeah.
When you give him game, that's the thing about it is he may end up walking in there and taking that starting spot because he's that effective over these next 3 games.
Yeah. No, he could. But just offensive line wise, I thought they opened up some lanes. I thought for the most part, they kept Gabriel good. Offensive line wasn't necessarily the issue. Like I said, my biggest issue was the play calling. But yeah, D line, I'm gonna give them a solid C. Still weren't we got there. I felt like we were getting there, but we just couldn't close the deal. That front seven, they looked better. I thought that they looked good. I mean, for as much as we want to, pile on Levy, I think that is the bright spot of the game. Is that defensively, I think you gave up 360 something yards defensively.
Yeah, 367.
Yeah, 360.
And that's because they had the ball so long.
Uh-huh.
That was it. It's like we kept stopping them on possessions and then pushing the ball down, either scoring quickly or field goal or turnover possession. And they get it back and drive, and then we take it right back, give it back to them, then we take it right back. So we kept stopping them at points that they probably didn't like being stopped at.
Yeah. I just thought some of the penalties. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't think that one penalty on what was his name on I didn't think that was one on Peyton Bourne. I thought that was clean. That was my thoughts.
When I rewatched it, which I'm gonna watch it again, I gotta watch it again too. Because I rewinded it while I was watching it on the game, and he pulled him initially, and that's when the flag flew. Yeah. The flag flew before he jumped. It was. The tight end went around him, and because he's so big, he grabbed him and pulled. He pulled him to pull him close, and then he jumped off of him. And that was why they called him. And technically, that's pass interference. Technically. The problem is he just got caught doing it. That's what happens whenever, they're actually watching you, and they're trying to make sure they call penalties on you. Oh, fumble. That ball's loose, and Alabama's got the ball. And Bama got the ball.
As far as our edges, I mean, how do you feel about the edge rush? I mean, see flashes.
The defensive line. I'll give the defensive line a B+. I was hoping for more sacks, but we got a lot of pressure. The edges were there. You could see them wrapping them up, and you could see they were getting there. That PJ penalty was dumb.
Say that again.
That penalty on PJ was dumb.
Yeah.
Which I get, but you could tell that the defender was pulling him down.
Mm-hmm.
So, he broke his mouthpiece. So, it's definitely a penalty. You could tell that the edge looked like they were getting there and causing problems. R. Mason Thomas, before he got hurt again, was wrecking shop on those big defense line edges. And I mentioned that in my video before the game. I said that's what you're going to see. You'll probably see more PJ and RMT going around those big old bookend edges because they're going to be slow. Yeah. And they don't move very well. And that's exactly what you saw.
I felt like when I saw Trace Ford in the game, he was able to bend and get around. I saw a couple of holes out there. I mean, one guy was basically hugging him. He wasn't even holding the jersey. I mean, he was holding.
It was.
Yeah, it was like he was like holding him.
Like, bro,
like you throw the flag, man.
You can't do that. No, it's literally just all the entire time. I'm just
interior wise. I felt like I didn't necessarily see that much of Terry. I felt like I saw a lot of Lacey and a lot of Cole, and then also we saw a lot
Bone special.
But I thought I saw a lot of Lacey, a lot of Cole, and then a lot of Jordan Kelly as well.
It's the what I got out of the interior mainly was the run game and how they were stuffing it. Like, we got 5 tackles for the loss, and those tackles for the loss, Stutzman had 2.5, Laulu had half of one, Billy Bowman had half of one, Jacob Lacey had half of one. They were stuffing the middle. And to me, that's huge for what you want those edges to do. I mean, those middle, the nose as well as your 0 and your 3. You want them to stuff run and prevent those runs from being able to happen. And that's honestly what they did. They did a great job of that. They did a great job of not letting them really break out on runs very many times. They averaged 3.4 yards per carry. They ran the ball 34 times. They passed it 45 times. They were running the ball a lot because they couldn't really pass it like they wanted to. We were way too fast for them, and that's something that they didn't realize. Just like Arkansas State, they didn't realize it was going to be as fast as we were, and we were. So yeah, that was the great. I'd give the entire defensive line a B plus. If you go back into linebackers, I'm gonna give them like an A-. They were everywhere. Stutzman had 17 tackles. They were everywhere. Kip had 9 tackles, 4 solos. Key Lawrence, I mean, he was kind of looking like he was playing cheetah with Harrington. Harrington had the pick to close the game, which I'm glad he came back in. He wasn't hurt. Kanik, I need him to be better.
So hold on. Before we go to Kanik, let's say, hey, one of the plays of the game, man. Shout out to Key Lawrence. Key Lawrence had himself a day.
He was everywhere.
That strip fumble was beautiful. Peanut Tillman-esque, right?
Yes. What you want. He had his hands in there with the blow. But Kanik was all over the place. We need to get him settled. He does not need to be the Mike.
Texas just
another Quinn Ewers deep pass.
Oh, gosh.
And that was a beautiful throw. Another beautiful throw by him. What is Saban doing on his defense?
I don't know. It's like he's playing them. He's playing those. That's Caleb Downs, too. And don't get me wrong, I think Caleb Downs is going to be a dog, but.
Yeah. Key was all over the place, and I was proud of Key. Key played. Key showed a lot of people up.
He did.
Key showed a lot of people up.
So to Jason's point, Jason puts in here, Kanik is a mess too. And I know some people are talking about him. What?
Get him out of the mic.
What's up with him, man? Go ahead.
Get him out the mic. Get him out the mic. Move him to Will. He don't need to be leading in the middle like that. He's fast enough to play Mike, but he it's up here right now. Him really knowing when to make the certain decisions. He's not doing it yet. He'll get there. I think I have faith in Kanik. I mean, this is only his second year ever playing linebacker, so there's a lot to learn. Stutzman had 17 tackles. He was involved in 17 tackles. 5 of those was solo. There's a reason why Stutzman was everywhere. You're probably better off moving him to the mic and letting Kanik just run everywhere at will, just be all over the place. Let him use his speed. Let him be a threat. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's got a lot of things to catch up on.
Yeah.
He's still good. It's just busted plays, openings. It's kind of like going between. It's like when there was a play I saw on Twitter from the Arkansas State game. Their quarterback got to scramble and got some yards, and it was because PJ came on the backside, on the weak side, and he was blitzing heavy. He basically got the quarterback's attention. When Ethan Downs ran in, he made an inside move and he stayed inside. So the quarterback had the outside and he ran off. Downs was supposed to have been your contain. He didn't contain. He was inside and he got stuck. So I felt like with Kanik in some place, he kept putting himself in a position where he's supposed to have been doing contain, and keeping the quarterback from going anywhere, or coverage wise, knowing where the guy coming across the middle is. I think that's the biggest, most important thing about being the Mike guy. You need to watch out for those players coming across the middle. You should be able to anticipate that. I wish Peyton Bowen was bigger.
Yeah.
Because I would put him at Mike and he would dominate. He'd probably have a ton of interceptions.
But I feel like we have other viable options. Obviously, we could go down the list of the freshmen that we just brought in. But
I think Kobe could do it. I think Kobe could, but I think Stutzman will be better at it.
Kip. I know my uncle's in here talking about Kip Lewis.
Everybody talking about Kip. Kip is really good. Kip's small.
I've never seen him on the field and not making plays.
Yes, he knows how to. He's a ball hawk.
Yeah,
but he's only 210 pounds.
I think that McKenzie. That Kobe McKenzie got it. He's got to see the field a little bit more. I really do.
But I think there's a reason why we saw a lot of Kip Lewis. I need to go look at the. I actually need to pull up Pro Football Focus and see how many snaps he played. But let me pull that up right now. Get into that college. Yeah, there's a reason why he played. He got that many hits because he balling.
Yeah. Chicken says y'all unfair. Rewatch Jared Kanik. He is young, but know the position. It's 2-4 guys doing their job to make the mic, not including the D line.
I get you, Chicken. You're not wrong. We may be a little harsh, maybe going a little hard on the Beaver, but the reason why is the expectations are high with Kanik. That was the big thing. His biggest thing was, and Unc, I get you. He making plays. That 208 just still scares me after a certain amount of time on the field. Yeah. But you're right. If we just play Kip and let that man go do his thing, let him do his thing. He's on it. But Chicken, no, it's more of a Kanik. The problem we had with Kanik last year was he was going to the wrong spot really fast. And like I said, I gotta go rewatch it. And just watch him. Like, that's what I need to do next. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch him on the defensive side because I need to understand where he's at. There was one crossing route where they got a conversion on, I think it was either third or fourth, and it was his guy. And even an analyst mentioned that they got, I think Kanik turned around or something. And it was like, if he would have stepped up, he would have made the stop. I had to go back and rewatch it. But, yeah, I really think that Stutzman will be better at the mic than Kanik would be.
And I think that they've messed with that a little bit. I think that at least in the Arch State game, they've done some things like that, right? Didn't they do that with they had the McCullough running when McCullough was in there, he was doing something. I forgot what it was and which pod I was listening to because they pointed it out that was a variation that they did run with I think McCullough was there. McCullough's a guy that I'll say too as well. That's probably as far as putting him there.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Pro Football Focus doesn't have the premium stats up yet for this game, so probably I would expect it. The game just ended not too long ago, so I will give it time and I'm gonna go in and look at it. But yeah, they're reviewing it now. They're doing the grades now. So where is Milroe throwing this ball? What is he doing? Why are you letting him drown? Quinn is just flicking the ball in the air, and his dudes are wide open. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get you. I get you, Chicken. I get you, Chicken. And you're a defensive guy, so I respect your thoughts on that. I'm big. I don't know. It just seems like he goes to the wrong spots a little bit too often. Like the spots, like holes he's supposed to clog up, it seems like he ain't there. And it's him probably just processing a lot, which, again, you just said he's young. He's processing a lot. A lot.
Yeah.
Because it's only his second year playing the role. So that's the only reason why I'm not all about yanking him and getting him out the game. I'm more of a move him to a spot where he's going to be more successful.
Yeah. I mean, coming in with that speed and just, the intangibles that he had, you thought that he was a perfect cheetah. But if you guys are saying he's just thinking way too much and, all the rest
of
it
it feels like.
Yeah, then probably that's not the position for him.
And I think McCullough probably does have a worse grasp. I think McCullough's better on the rush as more of like an additional rusher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see Harrington playing more. And Harrington's making plays.
Yeah.
He's making plays.
Hold on a second.
And it looks like, Texas is going to take this one. Wisconsin's making a comeback against. Oh, never mind. They're not mounting a comeback against. Actually, they are. Oh, they're making a comeback on Washington State. This is a good game. I may have to go turn on the Washington State game.
What is Texas Tech doing? I had Washington State winning that game.
Tech is winning 30-28 right now with 5 minutes left in the game. Oregon has the ball.
Where do we? Let's do some national topics real quick before we get up out of here. What are your thoughts about Clemson and also Baylor going? Baylor being 0-2. But what are your thoughts about Clemson after the Duke loss and then also Baylor losing again today?
I think Clemson will be fine. They'll figure it out. They miss BV. They don't have the same defensive coordinator to really run the defense fully. And so I think what's his name is Goodwin. I think that's his name. The new DC.
Godwin,
Godwin. I'm sorry,
like
Wes
that.
Godwin. Yeah, he's been on staff for a while. I just don't think he ain't BV. That's my point. Wes Goodwin. He's not BV, and you know he's not BV. He's young. He's been at Clemson. He was a senior defensive assistant from 18 to 21. He worked for the Cardinals for a while. So he spent time between Clemson from 09 to 22 between Clemson and the Arizona Cardinals the entire time. And so he's got a lot to learn. Mm-hmm. But I think Clemson will be fine. They don't have a generational quarterback yet. Cade Klubnik
was either.
And they ain't got the wide receivers, but once they get Wesco out there, they might be all right. But they got work to do.
Between him, the Antonio Williams kid is a bright spot, and they have a decent tight end. But outside of that, I don't think
he's trying to do a Nick Saban type deal where you come in, bring in a coach, and they run your offense, and they run it and teach the players use the same words, phrases, and all of that stuff. Which I totally get if you're losing OCs or DCs every 2 years like Saban is.
Yeah.
You're not losing them at Clemson. Y'all do a good job of retaining people. People don't want to leave because Dabo lets them do their jobs. You brought Garrett Riley in. Let Garrett Riley modernize your team. Do that. And then Alabama's so concerned about getting turnovers that they're not even tackling the dang runner.
Factual.
So if we want to go into Baylor, man, Aranda's on the hot seat.
You think so?
They're regressing. Obviously, they don't look disciplined. They don't look good at all. That Utah game, they were controlling the game most of it, and they still lost.
And it was mostly because Utah was being stubborn and wouldn't play the Nate Johnson. You played Nate Johnson from the get-go, you probably win that game with ease.
Yep. But Utah did exactly what Steven said from a Fanatic perspective said they would do. Run the ball and play sound defense. Mm-hmm. They did both. 13 yards. That's sound defense. And that's good running of the ball. They ran the ball for 224 yards.
Yeah.
That's two things that travel. So that's what you want. That's exactly what you're looking for.
But you think he's on a hot seat, though?
Oh, he better be. You don't think they're regressing? They lost to Wyoming and...
No, they lost to Texas
State. They lost to Texas State. That was Texas Tech that lost to Wyoming. They lost to Texas State, which is a team full of Oklahoma Sooners, and they just lost to Utah at home.
Yeah.
All they need is one more loss before you get fired, in which this next game is Long Island. The Texas game is going to be interesting. I wonder how that's going to go for them.
That's what's really interesting about Texas is that Texas has to play they play Wyoming at home next week, which I'm just letting you know, if they hold on and win this game, then that's still going to be a decent test for them, decent outing. And then they play Baylor on the road, and then they come back home against Kansas before they play us. Yeah,
they kind of got 3 challenging games. Wyoming will just be different. I don't think it'll be a hard game, but it'll be different. And it's gonna bend them. It's gonna make them work for that win. Yeah. Baylor's gonna be a physical game because Baylor's gonna fight them. They probably take off their gloves and really throw fisticuffs in that game. And then Kansas has given them hell for years.
Yeah.
So and as everybody talks about, Jalen Daniels was the top quarterback coming back in the Big 12. He was the Big 12 preseason player of the year for a lot of people's polls and such. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a challenge for them. So this win is good. It's going to be the question is, what do they look like going up against, these next 3 games before they meet Oklahoma, and how healthy are they going into that game? That if there's anything I would be concerned for Texas, was their attrition going to look like after those 3? It's going to be 3 fights. They're not simple games. They're fights. But yeah, Aranda's got to do something. And I think the saving grace for Aranda is beating Texas.
Yeah, it is. It is, at least for the moment.
But I don't know. Oh, yeah, Texas looks real good, Lone Wolf. You're right. They do. Yeah. They do. I hate to even admit it, but they do. Quinn actually looks like he knows how to throw the ball this game. He looked terrible against Rice. I don't think he completed a single deep pass against Rice, but against Bama, he's lobbing it in the air and it's a touchdown. And the good thing that they're doing now is, and this is what I have to give to Sark, they're running the ball.
Yeah.
And they're going to let that clock run.
But,
Ooh. Yeah.
So we've been on here for an hour. We're going to close with this last topic. 2:30 next week. 2:30 game against Tulsa. You're playing on the road at Tulsa. Kevin Wilson's the head coach. I think we got a lot of history with Kevin Wilson. Kevin Wilson's called some damn good games here at OU, Boomer. But I guess the question is just what do you want to see offensively, mostly from Levy and from Gabriel going into that game?
I need us to terrorize the hell out of Cardale Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I don't want Cardale moving. I don't want him to be comfortable. None of that. We need to terrorize him. If they get comfortable, we've made mistakes. Mistakes were made. And let me see, the Washington game, they had Fuller throwing the ball.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep, this game's over. Bama has lost.
Say it ain't so.
First down, Texas. This game is over. So yeah, you need to make sure you go and you terrorize their quarterbacks. That's the only thing I care about. We got to terrorize their quarterbacks. We terrorize their quarterbacks and we're good. And Washington beat them 43-10. If Washington can beat them 43-10, we better beat them 43 to nothing.
Yeah.
Because Washington's defense ain't as good as ours. But Michael Penix went out there and cooked them. And they didn't even run the ball, really. Jesus, that's bad.
What's the spread? What's the spread on that game for us?
Let's see. The Tulsa spread against Oklahoma. So I don't see an early spread out here on ESPN. Let me see. Oklahoma versus Tulsa football spread. Let's see. Action Network has it sitting at...
Florida got to win.
What? Florida won a game? Shut the front door.
Florida beat McNeese by four. The game's still going, but it's 49-7. How the hell did they score? Well, go ahead.
you know how it is. It doesn't look like they actually have the spread up yet. Well, in theory, yeah, they don't have. Nobody has a spread really for it, which is interesting. Let me see what Odd Sharks has, and I'll go to Vegas Insider too. Let's see what they got. Nope, nobody's put a spread out for it. I wonder why.
Well, look, guys.
No spread yet. So we'll keep an eye open for you. I know I'm going to talk about it. I love talking spread. So I guess they're evaluating this game.
I was going to say, we've been on here for an hour, y'all. I think we've kind of delved deep into it. One thing I will say, okay, this is the only out that I'm going to give Levy. Maybe it wasn't Levy. Maybe it was that we were playing on ESPN Plus. God forbid we play on that channel ever again. ESPN Plus sucks. I'm sorry. Point blank simple. Like that. I mean, literally, the game was freezing. It was this, it was that, it was that, it was this. So, anyways, with that being said, it's been another episode of the Horns Down podcast. I don't care if they win. The Horns are always down over here. You know how it goes. Jay, tell everybody where they can find you, my guy.
Y'all know to find me. Unfair Sports. Find me on YouTube. Search for me wherever podcasts are downloaded and listen to. We'll go live tomorrow for just recap for the week and prep for next. It'll be at like 8 p.m. I'm going to do it later than normal. My son has a soccer game up until about 7, so it'll be a late show. But we'll hop on. We'll chop it up ball. On Friday, I'll be on the Bleacher Report app. This Friday, it'll be 11 a.m. Central Time, and we will be doing our prediction roundtable. So pull up. Join us.
And as always, Horns Down Pod at the Horns Down Pod on Twitter. Chris with _K on Twitter. Go ahead and like, subscribe, do all of that. Share this channel or whatnot. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers. We're close. We're getting there. But definitely, hey, love everybody for coming out here. Boomer, we got the win 2-0. That's all we want. Winning is hard sometimes, right? Especially when we do it to ourselves. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Hit that close.
You know, there's a lot of great OU podcasts, but there's only one